Hey guys.
Yo.
Hey, hey.
Yo.
No, it's fine. We had the thing working.
Oh, you can see me.
Yeah.
Hey Tony.
Hey, how are you, Jay?
I'm good.
I don't think that
Surviving.
was for you, Annie. I think that was for Tony.
Oh, that's Tony. Oh, two Tonys.
Just jumped
Well,
in.
how's
there.
everyone?
Wait, do you guys know each other? Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, we've
The
met
DJ
before.
scene, you know what it is, lad. You know what it is.
DJs, creatives, collaboratives just coming together. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for
It's
dialing in, guys. There isn't really like an agenda. We just wanted to get you guys together to discuss the whole DJ scene, the landscape in London. I've got a few like notes to steer the conversation, but I'm sure it's gonna evolve naturally.
He's got negative hot takes.
Oh.
No, but we saw your post, Jay, and we were like, oh, that's interesting. Because like,
Dude, you want to start there then?
Yeah, I think we should start there. Yeah.
I think I saw something maybe like a couple hours before, and I
name it. You got to name it, Jay. You got
to name and shame. I was trying to be nice in all of it, but no. Basically, I actually can't remember who it was, but someone, because it was retweeted onto my timeline, but someone was throwing shade about a well-known DJ who they hadn't named, who basically had obviously got a lot of money for their set, but was clanging quite a bit. And I see it all the time.
For the listeners.
Pardon?
Can we define clanging for the listeners?
Clanging, yeah, of course. So basically, it's when you are bringing in another song, but the beat starts aligning. It's not smooth. It's a bit rough.
Smooth.
It's a bit rough. It's not. Yeah.
So
that's what clanging is. And for me, I think the reason also why I tweeted it is because I know no one is perfect. I've clanged so many times, like, and if you look at my CV, you may think, oh, right, like she really shouldn't be doing that. But like, it's technology. Shit happens. No, it's not even technology. It's human error as well. Like, shit happens at the end of the day. And I just feel like we're so quick to critique other people when really we should just be focusing on what we're doing, and that's where the tweet came from. I was tired of seeing slander of other DJs, and it's just like you're coming across as a bit bitter, mate.
Do you think it's important though? Like, it was more important, because we always talk about this: selection or mixing. Like, what's actually more important?
I think, obviously, it comes hand in hand, right? But I personally think it's all about selection, because you can come through with all the hand techniques in the world, scratching, all of that. I can't scratch, number one. I still feel like I'm a good DJ. Like, I don't like technicalities. Obviously, it adds a little bit of flavor. But ultimately, if your selection's not on point, if you're choosing the songs that no one's trying to vibes to, then you're not going to have a good party.
What are you saying?
What are you saying?
I reckon it depends. It depends on who you're playing for. If you're playing for people who are here and interested for the music, then they're going to care more for that. But if you're there for
it's acting up.
Wait, my thing's not working. It's acting up. Wait,
mine's okay. I think you're cutting out quite a lot, Tony. Well, while she does that, it's one of them things where like it probably does depend on who, but I guess from a DJ perspective, in the DJ community, Jay, do you find it's like your peers will be looking at you kind of funny, like you just mentioned in terms of that tweet, if you are clanging and you're not mixing so well? Do people like look at you? Is there a bit of shade? Is there a bit of, because everything in like London anyway, for me, the way it looks, like everybody's like friendly and it's all kind of good and, you know, positive vibes in that kind of area. But surely with tweets like you just mentioned, there's people looking a bit funny at people who are getting money when maybe the art is not what it should be. I don't know. What do you think? What's your view on that?
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a facade. The thing is, I even done a conclusion tweet, right? Which is that I've met some really amazing DJs, welcoming, that have been more than willing to help. But then you get the odd few that are just not displaying that sort of energy. So for me, it was like, I just want us all to remain humble. Like it's kind of like a shoe fits comment. It's not for everyone. Like no, not all DJs are the same. Because someone tweeted to me like, oh yeah, most DJs are snobs, and I was like, yeah, I've definitely come across a few, but I know I'm not one, so I can't say that's because I'm also a DJ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was trying to basically just say like we have to remain humble.
Yeah, but would you not be a snob if you're getting paid 1K for an hour? I might be.
It can definitely go to your head for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like anything in life, though.
Yeah.
Like anything in life, anything and that's why I literally said at the end of the tweet, like after everything, because I had quite a few DJs coming into my mentions as well. Like a few of the DJs that I may have been talking about, because I've definitely seen some of their tweets that have not been so nice. So it was funny how it triggered them and not the others. Because I literally said, if this triggers you, ask yourself why. And then, lo and behold, who jumped in my mentions? They did, and they didn't even follow me. So I found that quite hilarious. But yeah, I just said ultimately remain humble in it, be kind, because it can happen to any one of us. Let's be real. And I think that's what annoys me, is that whole cockiness of like, oh yeah, you shouldn't be doing this if you're getting paid a bag and blah 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 blah. But because that's one thing that they came to me with, was just like, if that's the attitude you have, it's gonna let people that don't really have the love of music into the craft, and that's gonna water it down. But my whole thing is that the real will always prevail. Like I know it might be a bit hippie-ish of me, but for like that's what I believe. I just feel like you shouldn't be watching the next man.
But what about that?
I agree.
What about that though? Well, Sean, what are you saying?
Yeah, I just feel like with anything, DJ is such a skilled sort of, I guess, pastime, sort of hobby or job for most people, or all the people in the group. So I just feel like, yeah, the best people will ultimately rise to the top. Like you'll see people, and we've worked with people that we know.
Will they?
I disagree.
No, but we've seen
will they though?
I strongly disagree with this. But go on.
You don't think that in the long term, the people that, I'm not going to name names, but some people that we've worked with before that clearly aren't DJs, they're not going to be doing these. They're not collecting the bag. Not in the long term. Right now, because they're hot or popping, or because they're an influencer, yeah. But I don't think, unless they get better at DJing.
Influencer DJs will come to. It's a good point. We can discuss your journey as a DJ, Jay.
Okay.
Away from Antonia, like how did you get into it? What made you get into it? How do you practice?
How did I get into it?
Yeah.
It was so random. So I was on Twitter one day and I saw this couple were DJing in their room. I wasn't working as well. I just left my job like a month before maybe. And I saw them DJing in their room. I didn't know it was accessible like that. I researched into it and I bought a controller for like £200. And I was basically just sitting on my bed, teaching myself for like 6 months. And then my friend who runs events, he let me do a warm-up set. And that's basically how I got into the world of DJing. But I was always going to events already, so it wasn't that hard for me to immerse myself into the nightlife because I was already a part of it. I already knew promoters and stuff. I just made it known that I was now DJing. It's just gone from strength to strength, really.
Yeah, because Tony, you do radio. So was that your route in to like selecting, and was that your way into the whole thing?
I guess my route was more in like Gowden. When we started Gowden, we didn't have any DJs, so I just kind of stepped up, and then from there, like realized I quite enjoyed it, and then radio came after.
Was it daunting
as well? Like I was just like, I want to have a go.
Yeah. Was it daunting to step up? Was it like a daunting step up? Because for us, like we're all kind of YouTube learned kind of DJ. Like you bought a controller that we kind of shared initially, and now we try to grow it out a bit more, go to pirate or whatever. But because we're throwing parties, it was like, you know what, we need to try and reduce the cost that we're paying because this is cost too much. Like we need to learn. We've got an idea of what we want to hear. Maybe if we learn how to DJ, we can reduce the cost. So it wasn't quite as difficult as a transition? Obviously, we'd never DJed before, but you know what you want to do at a party. For you, Antonia, was it difficult to like actually do that? And Jay, yeah, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, no, so definitely. I was pretty much just going to the parties that I wanted to DJ at. So it was quite easy because I knew what type of sound. I knew obviously each party has a different crowd, so you kind of know what, like, you need to change your music selection somewhat. So I think that helped. And yeah, I just play what I like. Play what I feel like the people like, really. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, definitely quite similar. Like with Galdem nights or the Galdem events, it was a bit more daunting, like going to then go to like clubs after that, because it's a completely different vibe. And like I was going to like quite a lot of different types of nights. So it was quite hard for me to place myself and see what I wanted to play and who it would appeal to. But I think I've got it now. I've got the balance of doing both.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's ruined the... I'll say...
No, go for it.
I was going to say, do you feel like it's ruined the good night out now? Because for me personally, I can't tune out. I'll be at the bar like, oh, I know what you're going to bring in. Just want to be free.
Yeah. It's like watching films with my sister who works in like theatre and like has done like TV and film stuff. She will just ruin the film for me because she's like, I'm hooking it the whole time. And I feel like I'm kind of the same, because when you're out, you're just waiting, lurking in the corner.
Always on job.
It's the same thing for us. Like when because we've thrown so many parties now. When you throw a party, you're looking at everything.
Yeah.
The queue.
Trust me.
It's too long to get a drink. We're like, we'd never do it here. We're looking at how much you reckon they pay for the venue. I can't go.
How much was the deposit?
Yeah, literally, how much was the deposit? What do you reckon the minimum bar is?
Yeah.
I will ask. It does kind of slightly ruin it. I don't know. Yeah.
A question I did have for you both was in terms of like your like music and the music you listen to. Are you willing to play somewhere that's going to ask you to compromise your sound to fit the event, or do you have a sound that you stick with and it's like you only get bookings off that?
I think I've done that enough in the past to not do that anymore. I've done enough of that.
I was going to say that.
Hopefully, like we pray after coronavirus, like these days are behind me. Having to compromise.
Yes, amen. Claim it.
Mm-hmm.
So like if Top Shot come with the bag, you're not going to just plug in and play top 40?
No.
I'm just saying, because I see some people do.
See, I'm at that stage where I need to like fully weigh it up. Like, okay, cool. Top Shop is saying top 40, but what's the bag saying? If the bag is decent, I'll happily do it. I'm not gonna lie, I'll happily do it as a one-off.
Yeah.
One-off, not a regular. Because honestly, it's soul destroying. Like, I've done it before. I've done 4-hour gigs before, and I'm just like, this ain't fun. This is not the reason why I got into it at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then
I don't want to sacrifice it too much for the bag, but obviously the bag is important.
The thing that will happen after that as well is that other people will then affiliate you with Top Shop and then the top 40, and they'll be like, oh, okay, that's the lane that she's in, cool.
Exactly. And that's probably where the whole influencer DJ term comes in.
Yes.
Did I even say it right? Influencer.
Yeah.
Influencer?
But also, the whole influence DJ thing, to me, is fascinating because, like, it feels like now brands are like, oh, it's just cool to have the concept of a DJ. So they might not actually want to control what sound it is. They just want the idea of like, oh, we've got some young, hip black people and we've been asked to do stuff where we're a bit like, oh, even then, even though we're playing our own sound, it's kind of like, what's actually our role for this brand? Is it that you got 3 like young black guys dressed cool at your corporate event, so you feel like, oh yeah, should I be mad at that? Sometimes I'm just like, oh fuck this, why are we here? Well, I'm not, Sean, you man know what I'm talking.
Yeah. I think it goes back to what Jay was saying though, and it's like just weighing up the risk versus the reward. Like, is the risk of being associated with X worth the reward of X amount of money? Like, I know we've worked at places before, like Weekday is a good example where we were DJing there, What?
How was that?
Or just beep it out. Beep it out.
delve into
Anyway,
that.
that place that we DJed
Nah,
There's been other
out.
places. Still, there's been other places as well. But
at. That place. That was like, yeah, we just pulled up and played, and we kind of had our
Okay.
own freedom, so it felt kind of like it was our thing.
See, that's cool. When they give you creative control to do whatever you want, that's fine. I feel like when it's restricted, it's like you can only play this genre, or like halfway through the set, I'll switch it up. I don't like.
Yeah,
being
when
told
they come up to you and they're like, "Oh, could you mind?" And you're
Sorry. What?
um,
Like, did you not book me so I can do my thing? Like, why are you gonna come? Allow it. That's when it's a bit iffy, because I can't. I don't like being told what to do, because I could have done what you asked me to do, but now you've actually asked me. I'm not gonna do it, even though I felt I was just about to do it, but now you've told me, it's not happening.
Okay,
That's how stubborn I am.
So with the brands, that's like one thing, I guess, and separately with like the promoters, because what we try to do is, obviously, as you know, you DJ for us, is like we have themes, and so if we're coming to you with a theme and we're asking you to play within that theme, is that good, bad? Is that something that you welcome, a challenge that you're not really open to? Like, how do you approach that as a DJ? Because we've had different kind of responses to that when we tried to book.
Yeah, I do welcome it, but whether I prefer it, no, I don't. I'd rather just you book me and then that's it. Because I do remember the theme that you booked me for. It was it around Valentine's Day? It was to do with love anyway. And I literally remember like,
Kings of R&B.
yeah, and I literally remember like going through my hard drive, like, hey, I need to find all my old school 90s R&B, like, and it's calm because that's what I love. But at the same time, you know, I'm just like, oh no, like now I've been, like now I've actually got to prep.
Yeah.
And I hate prepping. I don't.
Fair enough. No, it's fair enough.
Homework.
Yeah.
I quite like the challenge. Like, I like going through stuff and organizing things and like picking them apart. Like, I quite enjoy the process that comes with like doing like a theme, as opposed to just flinging out a set that you know will work in that environment.
Yeah, because I think the one bit that we probably don't communicate so much is because for us, we'll prep a set for a theme, but we'll also do what we want within that. So if the party's saying something else, you'll obviously just play something else. So yeah, I guess it's because we've got that freedom. Sometimes we're probably not so open to give other DJs that freedom. But it's just good to hear your like feedback on what you think, and then externally, other parties and stuff like that. Are any other promoters telling you play this, play that, or like you say, switch it up, or is that just a brand kind of thing?
I think that's definitely more like
it's okay.
Go on.
See, I was gonna say it's more of a case by case basis. I really do think it depends on the event and the crowd at the time as well. Like, they may book you and want you to play something else, and then on the actual night they're realizing, I don't know, people want bashment, and all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, can you play bashment? But again, I just hate being told what to do. I'd rather you just let me do my thing.
Yeah,
it's jarring.
Yeah,
I don't like
especially when you're DJing and like someone's coming up to you, like you're like, nah, just 1 second. You take the headphones out. Can you, bro, man.
You know what? I used to do that bare when I was younger, and now that I obviously DJ, I understand how.
You understand it.
Sorry.
When they used to ignore me, I used to be like, "Why are you being such a dickhead?" And now
you understand it's actually jarring. It's so jarring. It literally needs to be like a no-go zone around the booth. There needs to be like a line of some sort. Like, don't go past this line unless you're my brethren.
I've got a question though. I got a question. When you play on a night, do you have a set, like, this is what I'm gonna play? Do you have like a selection of songs, or are you just like, look, I'm just gonna go and play what I want? Because we've had DJs in the past, and I feel like you can kind of tell which DJs doing what, and then some DJs you're like, this is the half an hour, this is the 45 minutes you're getting from me, top to bottom. Even if you say, oh, bring this one forward, they're like, nah, that's track number 17. You gotta wait.
Gotta wait.
You're like, what? So like, how do you approach? Obviously, that you have to give away all the source, but like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you guys do it, because we're kind of, me and Sean would just be like, right, that's it, rack up like 200-300 songs on on the memory
On a,
stick, see what happens.
yeah, and just like see what happens. Okay, yeah, I'm the same. I don't plan nothing. I hate, like, I don't get it. I wouldn't, I'm not looking down on it. I get it for some sets, like a boiler room set, for instance. I guess you'd want to plan that,
Yeah.
or maybe plan somewhat around it. I just think having a rigid set, it kind of takes away the magic from DJing, because the whole, like, half of DJing is reading the room and reading the crowd. So if you've got a set planned, yeah, like, you won't really be reading the crowd. And also, I just feel like it's not fun. Isn't the fun of it, like, you scrolling through, like, oh, which, look at me, I'm bobbing now. This is what I'm doing. I'm like,
I'm even booking with you.
that's what I do. That's what I do. Literally, like, oh, maybe, and I'll select it. Like, nah, not that one. Like, that's the whole fun of it.
Yeah.
So I don't plan my sets. What about you guys?
I definitely agree to an extent. I feel like for like things like boiler rooms and live streams, you definitely want to know like where you're taking the set, like what kind of journey you're going to go on. But I feel like for things like that are more like family, friends orientated, like I love like my sister coming up to me, for example, being like, let's take it in this direction now, and then you just like you go and explore that whole genre. Of like old school stuff that, like, you know, something that would be good for like grandparents and parents kind of thing. And then, but I do have like a little plan, but I don't go track by track.
Okay.
Because there's always there's always a couple of, like, if you're like practicing a set, you do like Sean, I know you record a lot of your mixes, like, just even when you're just freestyling, you might play for a few hours. There's always a few songs that you blend and you're like, that's gonna, you know, it's gonna go. So the thing is, I always get too drunk when I'm playing. So if I remember it, then it's literally going off. I'll be like, otherwise I'll mix something else in. I'll be like, oh shit, that was the one that you could have. Anyway.
Yeah. See, that's what I was gonna say. That's where it would actually help you, because there's been times where I've added new songs to my USB, and depending on how you order your folder, it can be right at the bottom. And because obviously I start from the top, some songs you won't end up playing. So it's good in that sense to throw some stuff in the folder that you know you would want to play, like, regardless of where you are in the night. Definitely, because when you have like 300 songs per folder for whatever, like, scrolling through each one is long. And I only found out about the search button on CDJs the other day, you know, which is wow.
That's
quite shocking, isn't it, when you think about it?
That is nice. That is nice. Okay, well, one last question before we give you like a chance to talk about what you got planned for the rest of the year after Corona is, what is your view on like the London scene? Are you annoyed, irritated? Are you happy? Are you sad? Like, looking at it from a DJ, promoter, radio angle, like, how are you viewing the landscape? Because obviously you guys are leading like people in what you do, so it'd just be good to get a view of like how you find it, because you interact probably with people on a daily basis, Instagram, whatever platforms, email and stuff. So yeah, it'd just be good to get your view on that.
I definitely feel like a lot of like radio, for example, is very much an echo chamber. You know, you think you've got a lot of people who are in one scene who are like really big and like well respected, but then you can't step out of that bubble and like no one knows who they are. And I feel like within those pockets, like, people definitely get very, I don't know, they just assume that they're the best of the best and the best, and not know that there's a whole nother world outside of that. So I think stepping out of that, in terms of like my job and what I do see a lot of that, like in different scenes, and there's not as much crossover as we think there is.
Yeah, I would say, I would definitely agree with you, Tony. And I do think also that we have a bit of a crab in the bucket mentality in London. I think just in the Craven Street in general. I even wanted to move abroad. I was like seriously considering it a couple months ago, just to get out of London, because I know that there's so much more to do. And I feel like,
where would you move to?
Amsterdam.
Nice.
I was like, everyone knows. I was 90% gonna happen as well. But yeah, I just feel like as a scene, quote unquote, Obviously, it's such a small scene. Everyone knows everyone. And I do feel like the competition isn't always friendly. Like I said, I've come across some DJs who have been really like welcoming and forthcoming, and then you get some bitter ones on Twitter that want to go off about the newer ones. And yeah, like at first I thought, is it just me? And I thought, you know what, because I've been thinking about this for a while before I tweeted about it, and I thought, you know what, like, let me just get this off my chest, because I am seeing this, and I've been in the game like enough to know now, like I'm not a newbie per se. And then even Cyan Anderson, like she retweeted me and basically agrees. I thought, okay, I know it's not me now, because you know Cyan's quite a big figure in the industry, like she's DJs as well. So for her to actually come and say that and agree, I know for a fact it's a problem. Like a lot of the old DJs, they don't really bring us forward, not all the time. And I like to pay it forward. Anyone can hop in my DMs and ask me questions, or I could give advice too. So yeah, it's a bit of a techie one with London. It's a love and hate relationship.
Yeah. Okay. No, I appreciate that. Boys, what are you saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I agree with what you guys are saying, to be fair. I don't know. I've never really personally come across a DJ that's never been welcoming, but I can fully like imagine there are cases, and I know we've dealt with people where we sort of looked at the price and been like, whoa, like, why are you charging that much? Like,
Yeah.
I think my problem sometimes is just, the value that people put on their services sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with the scene, because it is such a skilled thing, and you can obviously see if you're worth that much very quickly. I just have a problem with people putting a price on their thing.
I ain't got a problem with that.
You don't? Really?
Everyone's got to get paid. I'm not mad at it. But for me, it's just like, I'm so passionate about the parties that we throw. So like, and I think you're right. There is that scene of like, just not welcomingness, but sometimes there's people are just like, look, I know mostly people do things for the bag, but like there's that real separation of like, and I was speaking to this panel talk just before Christmas. They were talking about like how when you used to go on nights out in the 90s, every DJ would be there at the start of the event, and there was like if you had like the prime slot at 1 a.m. or something, you knew broadly what you'd be playing, and the DJ at like 10 wouldn't play the biggest tune because he'd be thinking about how does this fit with the night. That doesn't not exist. I go on nights out now, and literally every banger you hear Doom about 16 times, because each DJ is not even like thinking about it, like they're not there. Exactly, yeah.
It's difficult.
Everyone wants to be the headline DJ.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that like, I'm not mad at anyone trying to get the bag at all. I just think it's more about, okay, well, how are you seeing like how you fit? And we try and always be like, look, this is where we want you to play, and get a vibe from that, what it is. But
yeah.
It's difficult though. It's difficult though, because some people have got to pay their rent, man. And if you got to do 2 or 3 shows a night, like you actually just have to do that. So for me, I can't hate that too much. I think it's just probably a symptom of the times, really. We're not in the 90s where people would probably just pull up and be there. I think now, if you can get 300 times 3 in one night, you should, in my opinion, do that.
Get it where you can.
Yeah.
Back in the day, speaking of the 90s, back in the day, someone told me that promoters used to pay DJs in terms of how much they could bring in, how many people they could bring in.
That is,
Now, if that was the case now, I would not be DJing, because 4 people come to my sets. They're all my friends.
Yeah. And that's
crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I think that's a difficulty where you're talking about, Sean. Like, people put a value to it, and we often try to assess, like, you know, everyone's a DJ, which is the name of this episode, but like the big DJs, you know, are they bringing in that many people that you know?
That's my thing. Like,
because we got to sell tickets. If we book, like, okay, I'm trying to think. If we book K Trinada to DJ a set, we know K Trinada is going to bring people. But then if we book DJ X, like with 10,000, 15,000 followers, 20,000 followers, are you bringing in those numbers? Because, you know, then it becomes difficult. But then you're paying for someone's skill, aren't you, really?
It's the value exchange in it. It's like, exactly what you said is a great example. Like, we've looked at people based on their following before, and we thought, okay, they might be able to bring X amount of people.
That was our first mistake.
And yeah, we know full well that it doesn't work. So it's like, yeah, I guess just establishing what's the price of people's talents. I guess.
I think as well, like a lot of DJs in London are too quick to quit their main hustle. And I think Corona is definitely showing like the people who have done that basically.
Yeah.
I think, a lot of people just jump into DJing and think it's gonna be able to pay their rent for the rest of their lives, and that's not the reality. It's not the reality.
Anytime I've raised my fee, it's always been aligned with something big that I've done in my career. So I feel like when you're paying DJs, you need to think about their experience and also the time that they put in, their practice hours, how many times they're going into studio, all their music as well. You have to take that into consideration. So it's not necessarily just about how much people they're bringing, and the skill definitely is a big part of it, but you also just have to think about those things as well, which is why I guess some fees may seem ridiculous, but it's all about expertise.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's get like 5-10 minutes to talk about what you guys have got planned for the rest of the year. We don't really know when we're going to start.
We don't know.
Right now, but I know you're both on radio, aren't you? Tony, you're on.
I'm on Worldwide.
And Jay, you're on Foundation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Foundation FM.
How's it going on those?
It's been a lot of fun. So I do it monthly with my collective, and then I have my own show like every now and again. So my own show isn't like a consistent thing. It's just, I guess, when they have free slots, but it's great. It's great practice. I was doing radio before Foundation, so it's good to just keep building up on that, because the dream is to be on commercial radio at some point.
Okay.
And I was thinking to myself the other day, like, am I a specialist or am I a presenter? Like, what do I want to be?
Yeah.
Good question.
Bit of a hard one, because with commercial radio, a lot of it is you are a presenter. Like, you do have
talking. It's a lot.
Tony, you'll know.
Yeah, you're if you're on commercial, it's more about the personality, as opposed to like you as a specialist DJ.
Yeah.
But you could do both.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could.
There's no reason why you can't do both.
Because I love music and I've got a personality, so win-win.
How about you, Tony?
Worldwide's going good. Been enjoying that. I'll do it monthly there. It's a solo show. Before that, I was doing the Galdem show and Represent. So yeah, I've been doing it for just over a year now. Really enjoying it. Obviously, don't know what's going on with Corona. Meant to be playing at We Out Here, which is like kind of Giles Peterson, Brownswood. So yeah, we'll just see what happens. I was meant to start a night with a couple of friends as well this summer, but everything's just on hold right now. So we'll just see how it goes.
If anyone can get a party the weekend everything opens up again, it's gonna be mad though. That's what we're trying to do now.
Isn't it?
It's like
it's like I'm gagging even more for summer. Like, it's actually got me. Like, I'm ready
we can't
to
do
go
this for
outside.
But this is what I'm saying. Can we? Is this what it's going to be for 3 months?
Imagine
I'll make it to the end of next week. I won't make it. I won't make it.
I wouldn't be surprised, guys. I'll send around an article. My friend. The thing is, I didn't want to send it because I don't want to do no fear mongering. But apparently, it's going to change our lives for the foreseeable future. Like, this ain't no month thing, or it's going to be a minute before they contain this situation.
It's mad.
But the good news is a lot of us are immune to it already, because a lot of us have had it and not
already had it.
Gone, yeah.
I feel like I had it like a month ago.
Yeah, same. I
feel like
I was sick.
Sean came to my house this weekend. I made dinner for about 10 people. So it's interesting because I feel like my something. A little something. I don't know exactly what it is. You know, you have to do that deep cough. That's what I've been doing. So it might be that. I'm not sure.
Who told you to leave your house? Or is it stay indoors?
No,
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Right, man.
Don't cry, baby. I love you.